All right, after giving you guys several days to cast your votes, have what your say, whatever it may be, you guys did a phenomenal job leaving your commentaries and very insightful reasoning behind each of the draft picks, each of the trades, all the different scenarios, and understanding what it all could lead up to for the Detroit Lions in this first ever Lions Talk Live mock draft. We're going to dive into what the results. Remember, it was majority rules on these things. So if you didn't get your way on this one, hopefully you got your way on something else within all that. We're going to talk real quickly about ESPN's first ever mock draft results for this year from Mel Kiper Jr. and maybe just a little bit more in today's Lions Talk Live. Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host, once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank everybody out there for taking some time this Wednesday and tuning in to Lions Talk Live. I was really impressed with how many people took time out of their day, their weekend, whatever it may be, to go ahead and leave very insightful commentary into what the Lions should do at this pick. Should we go with that route? You know, there was just a ton of great individual commentary from all of you out there. Some of you tuned in a couple times with different scenarios, thoughts, and I just want to thank you all. With that being said, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, a thumbs up, or some commentary in the section below. It takes you about a second and a half to do so. Now, let's talk about our mock draft. Yes, there was one thing I wanted to make real clear when we did the intro video to it, and then reiterate with this one. If player A is off the board at one spot because the majority ruled and took that player, then they might not be available in another spot. So the draft itself could alter based on your selections, your trades, whatever. And guess what? That's what happened with this one. A quick reminder. So on pick 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just like we showed in the prior video, Will Anderson Jr. went number 1 to Chicago. Bryce Young, 2 to the Texans. Jalen Carter, number 3 to Arizona. Stroud to the Colts. And Myles Murphy did go to Seattle. So that took us to our first pick that you, the viewers, had to vote on. And that first pick was a couple of different options for different trades. Do you take the player on the board? And without bothering you guys by reviewing everything, we're just going to go to the winning selection. And that would be the trade for pick 17 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Quick review, as you can see on the screen, we give up pick number 6. The Steelers get pick 17, give us pick 17, pick 32, their future 2024 first and 7th round pick. And let's go into those results now. So the Lions with pick 17 take Trenton Thompson, linebacker out of Clemson. I'm sure we're all excited to see this. It's a position of need. The Lions got good value and a potential starter right off the bat. I think everybody watching this video understands an impact player, and that's what this kid is. He's got tons of potential. He's got speed. He's got strength, acceleration. He's got the wingspan. He might be one of the biggest pieces other than secondary that we needed to get. Now, if you wanted more information on him, I'm sure we can all Google it and search it and come up with it. But the Lions, in my opinion, and thanks to you guys, the fans out there, number you said we should take him at pick 18. So the fact that we traded back and we're now able to snag him at 17, to me, shows great value. And again, I want to thank everybody who took part of this, to help give out information on them and their thoughts and opinions. But, you get a 6'3", 225-pound linebacker with some good range. He can get all over the place. And I'm putting his information up, obviously, for you guys to read in the background. But just a superior value for this spot in the draft. So I'm sure, as you guys can now see, we're on to pick 18. And if linebacker was a spot of need for us, then obviously this next pick, as you're seeing, Christian Gonzalez at 18 for Detroit makes just a ton of sense. Yes, we did have some options, as you guys all voted on, to trade. But based on the composites of all your responses, the positions that we needed, where to get things in the draft, the majority ruled, and it seemed that the majority wanted us to take a cornerback. Now, because of the trade, and remember we talked about it, one thing could affect another. because we did not take a player at 6 and that caused a trade. You'll notice in the prior video, we had mocked Gonzalez going to 14 to the Patriots. Patriots no longer took him there. They took a different player, and that forced Gonzalez to slip down the board. Yes, we could have taken him at 17 and Simpson at 18, but whatever it is, it didn't really make an impact. It slipped him down far enough where we were able to snag him. Now, if you don't know much about him, here's what we can tell you. 6'2", roughly a 4.38 40-yard dash, physical, huge wingspan, can leap all over the field. Putting some information, of course, as you can see behind the board, 200-pound cornerback with that kind of speed, coverage ability, instincts. I think, these first 2 picks for Detroit, along with what they got out of the trade, just pure wins across the board. All right, now let's move on to the top of the second round. Normally pick 32 is the last pick in the first round, but because of the Miami Dolphins situation, them having to forfeit a pick, pick 32 is now the first pick of the second round. You guys, a number of you said we should try to get Robinson at 18 or trade up or whatever it may be, but because the Lions held firm at 17 and 18, they then had the number 1 pick of the second round. And as you're seeing on the board, Jahmyr Gibbs is coming to Detroit. That's right, the running back out of Alabama, roughly 200 pounds, 6 foot-ish, you could say. Explosive, phenomenal speed. Got more than you would anticipate, power and short yardage. He's got loose hips. He's able to switch directions in effortless fashion. He's almost like a DeAndre Swift, who I think we could all compare him to, but perhaps a little bit more upper body mass and strength, a little bit more of a hammer to him. What's he going to do in the NFL? We'll have to wait and see, but in my opinion, you guys are spot on about what the Lions should target at roughly this area. And again, majority ruled. Because we took that trade and because a number of you thought we should draft a running back around this area, I made sure that we followed your wishes, and this is what we got. Gibbs, I think, adds another element to an already potent Lions offense and makes things a whole lot harder on opposing defenses. Now, this is going to come as a surprise, I believe, to just about everybody. But when we went through the mock simulations, when we took all your guys' data, suggestions, awesome input into consideration, the phone rang for the Detroit Lions as they made a trade offer. As you're seeing on the board, the Lions trade to get the second pick in the second round with the Texans. Yes, we had to give up pick 48 and pick 81, but we move up to pick 33 and take a mammoth individual in Sakaya Ika. And I may not be pronouncing that name right, but if you do not know who this gentleman is, we thought he would be off the board by the latter part of the first round. Yes, you, me, and all Lions fans out there wanted the Lions to get Carter or maybe Breezy, but unfortunately, that did not unfold. What we can say is, if you need somebody who's similar to a Jordan Davis or whoever you want to say, this kid, Ikea, is a mammoth individual. As you can see the stats up on the board, 6'4", 351 pounds, and I'm going to say this, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little bit more than that. This guy is a two-person block. What does that mean? It's going to take 2 people on the offensive line to block this kid out. First, second downs, goal line situations, he is going to shut down the middle of the field along with Buggs or Lee McNeil or whoever else the Lions put out there. A home run opportunity for the Detroit Lions. And again, this came about as a result of your input. What you guys all as a group said, this is what we need to get. A position of relative importance and high priority. So with this, yes, the Lions had to move up to get it. They basically swapped second round picks and had to give up the number 81 overall selection. But I think we can all agree this would be a huge win for the Detroit Lions. All right, well, again, Moving on to the next pick. The Lions, as you all are aware, have targeted specific needs on defense. Unlike perhaps some years in the past with this simulation, the Lions are being far more aggressive and assertive, calculating with who they're trying to go after for this draft. They've made a few trades, picked up some draft capital. Some of that draft capital they've picked up, they've now moved to get desired targets. And with this next position, I'm sure we'll all agree it's another brilliant move by you, the fans, and hopefully Brad Holmes. You're seeing it up on the board now. The Lions have made another trade. The Lions picked number 51, Eli Ricks. Yes, they had to give up pick 55 and 150 in return to move up those 4 spots and get Ricks. They had to give up pick 50, they had to give up those 2 picks. In return, they get pick 51 and pick 217. So, again, they get to keep the same amount of picks. It's just they're swapping positions a bit. They did fall back quite a bit in the latter rounds, but they were able to get the player they want. And if you don't know who Ricks is, let's dive into it real quick. You got him. He's Ricks. He's 6'2". He's, again, a sub 440 person. So he's a cornerback, much like who we got in Gonzalez. They're very similar. Physical upper bodies, long wingspans, long stride first steps off the break. When they get their hands on somebody, they can displace and jam. And the most important thing, since the Detroit Lions and AG love to play so much man-to-man defense, they have the recovery speed and the side to really contest any kind of lob pass, out patterns, things of that sort. It's going to be hard for teams to go downfield because of that extra size, that extra speed, and in my opinion, that extra wingspan. Aggressive moves by you guys, aggressive moves by Brad Holmes, but I think we can all say it's really panning out for a Detroit Lions defense that doesn't have a lot of holes, but very specific holes, and it appears to me, thanks to you guys and your efforts, we filled in quite a few of them. All right, so now the Lions have quite a bit of time off. They're going to go from pick 51 to pick 170, and that's Thomas Robinson, the quarterback from UCLA. I'll give you guys a little bit of skinny on him. He does have an above-average arm. He doesn't have the cannon rocket, but he's got quick reads. He goes through progressions, in my opinion, fairly quickly. He comes off number 1 to go to 2 within a moment's notice. He's advanced in his abilities to read defenses and process information quickly. So while he doesn't have the big cannon arm, he's got the ability to keep chains moving. Also, he's not slow. This kid is mobile. He can get around pockets. He can get out and run and provides enough threat where, you can say this. If people want to go man-to-man across the board, and if the line can give him time, he can scramble and pick up, 4, 5, 6, 7 yards and really make it difficult on opposing defenses. Does he need time to develop? 100% he does. But if we're talking about somebody who's just that, a developmental quarterback with some mobility and already has some strengths, this seems like pretty good value to me. All right, now moving on to the final pick for the Detroit Lions, and that's going to be at 217. That's going to be TJ Bass, the offensive tackle out of Oregon. 6'5", we'll say 315, 320 pounds. He already runs blocks fairly well. He's average, in my opinion, in pass blocking. But if you're looking for somebody to be depth, if you're looking for somebody to be cap friendly while having some good pieces to build around, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this kid, but I'm going to say this. He seems to fit the mold. He seems to be able to somebody that the offensive line can slowly work in, develop, and perhaps in a season or two, start getting some meaningful minutes if he can develop further. So that's it for this first ever interactive mock draft. Take a look at who we got. What do you guys think of this? Now, keep in mind, too, we still get Pittsburgh's first round pick and 7th round pick of the 2024 draft. You guys, again, I want to thank you a ton for taking out the time from your days to work with me on this. Yes, there's some things I'll have to try to do better for the next one, some things I need to refine. But for the first go around, I was really happy with it, but let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of this mock, what you think of some of these trades. Was Holmes or us too aggressive? Whatever it may be, go ahead and throw those comments in the section below. All right, well, I want to thank everybody for taking time to tune into this Lions Talk Live. This video has probably gone on long enough, so I thank you all for all the awesome work you did to help make this happen. Also, did you see ESPN's mock draft from Mel Kiper Jr. that came out? What did you think of Will Levis making the top 5? What did you think of Wilson going to Detroit? Some of the other changes at the top. I remember about a week or two ago, we put out one of our first mock drafts, and we had Carter going number 1 to the Chicago Bears. I thought it was really spot on that Mel Kiper and ESPN also had him going number 1 and not Anderson Jr. What did you think of that? But whatever it is, I hope you all have a great day. Go ahead, if you haven't yet subscribed, consider doing so. Leave a thumbs up, some commentary down below. Whatever it may be, we'll see you tomorrow on another Lions Talk Live.